Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Captain Rye, and today we'll be looking at a Let's Play series I'm starting for Life is Feudal, Forest Village. If you're familiar with the Life is Feudal, they made Life is Feudal Your Own, which is basically a medieval first-person simulator, and they're working on Life is Feudal medieval MMO simulator. Pretty interesting and complex stuff. If you're like me, and hopefully you are because you watch my YouTube channel, you occasionally need breaks from poning noobs or being one in games like World of Warships and Armored Warfare, and like to sit back and relax with a nice village building simulator slash manager type game. And that's what this is. This pretty much is basically a way better, way prettier looking version of Banished. If you're not familiar with what Banished is or was, it was a game that was released a couple years ago, developed by one guy, that was effectively you start in the middle of the wilderness with a bunch of peasants, a bunch of villagers, and you have to build farms, houses, wood cutting, forestry, all of the necessities to survive the winter before the winter comes, survive the winter, and then grow and expand your city so that you can create more things, new things. And the game itself, when it came out, was, well, it was pretty basic. And even with mods, it's still pretty basic. And graphically speaking, it's not that good. In this game, similar setup. So, now that we've gotten some base intro, let's take a look at what I'm doing here. First things first, I've still got the game paused. I'm looking to build a house. Now, you start with 3 shacks, and yeah, I don't really like the shacks. I don't think they look very good. So, as a result, I always like to replace my shacks as soon as physically possible with a house. Additionally, the shacks only hold 3 people, the house holds 5, which means I can have 2 houses in less footprint than the shacks. Plop down a fisherman's lodge there, right there on the coast. Lots of fish to be had, and fish, well, it's something that we'll need. One of the things that this game does better than Banished that I've noticed is that it takes into account food nutritional values. You cannot subsist on fish and bread alone. Your people will become malnourished and sick and will not work as effectively. They end up becoming actually more prone to diseases like the plague, and can die from that and spread that infection. So I'm going to go ahead and place a farm down here. The farms are, I've found, ideally worked by 2 people. Anything more than that early in the game is not really useful. Having 2 two-person farms early in the game also means that I get to effectively diversify my crop if I want to. Though, right now, I've got 10 people, 10 mouths to feed. 1 farm is going to be more than enough, but I have learned from past experiences that I need more than 1 farm. And I need more than 1 farm very, very quickly, or I'm going to run into a pretty major problem of, well, running out of food. Trying to place a road there. The dirt paths do increase the speed, so I want to get that, but of course it placed on the wrong side. What the hell? And it won't let me delete it. Well, shit. Oh, well, I suppose that's fine. There's a well in the way anyway, so I can't really do too much city planning. I do apologize for the change in aspect ratio. I don't know why it did that. Shouldn't have done that. Definitely should not have done that. Though this is still an early access alpha, basically, and there are issues with the settings. Well, there were issues at the time of this recording with the settings misbehaving. Basically, they'd reset every single time you started the game. So, unpause, fast forward, 10 times speed. I want to get those. I want to get the house done. I want to get that fisherman's lodge done. And I want to get those farms done as generally as quickly as possible, but simultaneously, I want to get this house up as soon as possible because I want to delete the shack that's right next to it. I want to deconstruct it to make room for a second house, so I have nice city planning. Because it's a city sim, it's a city building simulator, and that's what I like to do. So I'm more focused on that, and one of the things that I've also learned is if you delete a shack or a house that has a child in it, that's a villager under 2 years old, it will automatically kill them because they cannot relocate, which is terrible, but on one side it's kind of like, well, sorry, little Susie, you don't get to live because we're going to go move to a bigger house, and so we're just gonna murder you now. Yes, calling the children so you can move to a nicer house. Fisherman's Lodge is up. I now have that other shack slated for deletion, and I want to go ahead and finish the farms, again, because I need at least some kind of vegetable, and right now the only vegetable you can grow is potatoes. And the only kind of fruit you can grow is apples. Though there is stuff in here that should show for more variety in the future, though the farms are still pretty limited with what they do and do not have. But at least with the orchard, there's things like, you can grow lemons, and you can grow oranges, and you can grow peaches, and you can grow nuts. So, you get that variety. But right now, just apples, just potatoes, very, very limited in selection. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm panning around the camera. I'm trying desperately to get a kind of a general sense of what exactly it is that I'm looking to plan. I'm thinking that the peninsula that I'm on is going to be perfect to expand my city that direction with numerous fishermen's lodges down there, but also to produce a dock. And another village that I built that ended in disastrous consequences when I didn't have enough farms ready to go for a massive population boom thanks to the establishment of several larger houses, all at the same time. My population starved to death, but not before building the dock. And the dock, this is where it really separates itself from Banished as far as in-game content goes. You can build a dock, and if you have the resources, you can build a ship. And then if you have the supplies, you can send that ship and some villagers on an expedition to parts unknown, and they will come back, but I have not yet done that. So hopefully in this playthrough, I will manage life a little bit better, and we will actually manage to do that. So, still panning around here, still trying to get a good general idea of where I'm going to expand, and, the other thing that this game does really, really well that Banished doesn't do is it lets you actually zoom in to a first-person view. It has a day-night cycle, which is really cool, and I think Banished actually had a day-night cycle as well. The day-night cycle doesn't actually impact what your villagers do at this time. It's just kind of a cool feature. But you can zoom in to, basically first-person view level, and even more than just zooming into first-person level, you can actually take control of a villager in the first-person view and do tasks. You can farm, you can hunt. If you've got a big old grizzly bear or a fox or something that's in the middle of your village here, and we will see that, you can actually take control of a villager, have them stop what they're doing, their assigned task or their unassigned task, and go over to that animal and kill it. And then pick up its resources, furs and meat, and take them back to the storage barn and store it for later use. And that's really cool. And there's a nifty little feature where you get to press the horn, and it will actually cause them to walk faster and perform the task faster. Speaking of the giant grizzly bears, there's one hanging around my farm. Right now, they're docile. They don't attack right now, which is a good thing. And I think this is something that the developers are working on, because it would be really bad to have a bunch of grizzly bears spawn next to your village and then have them go and immediately and aggressively attack all your villagers before you even get farms and houses and hunting lodges established. Finally got that shack deleted, and now I have a second house up. And I'm looking at placing a firewood chopping location, a lumberjack's lodge, though it's not really a lodge, it's more just like an open space where you chop firewood. And I'm trying to decide where I want it. I don't really want it next to the fishing lodge, because that's a distance that they have to travel for resources, and since my houses are going to be built towards the farm and back away, I end up in a situation where, I don't want people to have to walk all the way down to the fisherman's lodge to grab that firewood and then walk it all the way back to their houses. And right now there is actually a limit to the distance that they will travel, that your villagers will travel for a non-food resource. For their houses. If you've got firewood all the way across the village, but nothing near your end of the village, you'll actually have people who will freeze to death rather than walk the extra half a kilometer or half a mile to go get a cord of firewood. I mean, seriously, come on, people. What the fuck? I do want to apologize if my voice sounds a little bit off tonight. For whatever reason, it's being kind of raspy. Tried drinking water, tried clearing my throat. It just does not want to behave itself tonight. So as the season continues, the weather effects in this game are also really, really amazing. The other thing that sets this game apart from Banished that I really like is that you can build on uneven terrain. Banished, the terrain is very blah. It's very boring. There's not a lot of changes in it, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is everything has to be built on the exact same plane. You can't have something built on high ground and something built on low ground. It will just auto level to low ground, and if it's a hill that's too big to level, it won't let you build there. In this game, that isn't a problem. You can build there. Not only can you build there, but you can actually level the terrain. You can raise and lower the terrain. And an idea that I pitched to the developers, and the developers, if you're watching this, when you raise and lower terrain, and I'll re-mention this when I actually do some terrain leveling, when you raise and lower the terrain, I think it would be sweet if you had an extra terrain tool to go ahead and create the option to create a wood or stone retaining wall. If it's going to create a slope in the process of leveling on one or more sides that's too steep for your villagers to walk up. If it's too steep for your villagers to walk up, because I know they'll walk down it, I've gotten villagers trapped that way. If it's too steep to walk up, have it level out, do a flush, and put a retaining wall there. That retaining wall area doesn't have to be used. It can have the same effect as having that slope where you can't actually build on it. And there, I just deleted a shack that had a child in it, and the child was cold in the process. Sorry, child. We have to murder you so we can move into the new house. It's not that there's no space for you, it's that you're just too young to move. But I think it would be really cool if you could have that brick or that log, that lumber retaining wall. And yeah, that would use resources, but it would look so good. It would look so good. You'd have like a cool tiered village set up, and even more than that, you would have villages that are being built on the hills map, which other than wanting a challenge, I don't know why you would right now. It's really just annoying to do. So with, having those stone or wood retaining walls, you can create beautiful, tiered villages like that. And I think that would just look so sweet. Place down a very large house. Actually, it's a regular sized house. It holds 10 people. And this is one of the problems that I have with this game and games that I see like this. And it's basically the cost effectiveness of building larger houses. That large house costs like 200% more than one of those small houses does, and it only holds double the people. If it was 100% more of the resources, I could understand wanting to put it down. But 200%, almost 200%, that's kind of steep. More importantly, upgrading the houses, upgrading that small house costs more than 100% of the, value to build another small house, which holds 5 people, and the upgrade only holds 1 additional people, but you're adding a whole second floor. Devs, if you're watching this, please improve that. Make it, hold 3 people more, at least 50% of the value. Otherwise, why would I ever upgrade it? I'm just gonna go build another one. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I suppose for resource consumption, amount of firewood needed split amongst the houses, but I would still rather hold more people. That's why I want to upgrade the village. Anyway, I think it's time to put a cut in the video, and I will see you guys next time. If you like this video, do hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to see hardcore PvP gamer action, head over and check my World of Warships and Armored Warfare playlists, and I will see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.